All right, everyone. Thank you again, and welcome to INRC's monthly information session. INRC is committed to increasing neighborhood engagement, strengthening your leadership skills as neighbors, and expanding community building activities. As you settle in, again, please mute your microphone so that we get very limited unnecessary feedback. My name is Terry Brooks Allen, and I am the training manager at INRC. I'm joined by other staff members, and Danae Freeman is our engagement manager. Danae, give us a wave.
Hi, everybody.
And we're also joined by Sharon Logan, our deputy director. And Sharon, would you care to say hello to our guest?
Thanks, Terry. Yeah, I'm Sharon. I'm excited to have some potential future public allies on the call, as well as maybe some potential partners, nonprofits. Just excited to have the space and be able to share more about the program and answer any questions that you all have. So I'm just excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So tonight we are joined by another part of our staff called the Public Allies Program. Lauren Tolley is the program director of Public Allies, and Lauren has served twice as an ally, first with Reconnecting Waterways and later with, I've got to adjust my screen, and later with Direct Employers Institute. Thank you for joining us, Lauren. Our other staff member with the Public Allies team is Caitlin Blackie, and Caitlin is a program manager on the PA team. And she was in the Public Allies Class 9, where she served at the Mary Riggs Neighborhood Center. Caitlin joined the INRC staff in September 2022. So at this time, I will turn it over to Lauren and Caitlin, and they will share with us the Public Allies Program.
Thank you, Terry. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you to the Neighborhood Services team for inviting us to share their space for their information session today. As Terry mentioned, we are one of the other programs of the Indianapolis Neighborhood Resource Center, and we're really excited to be here with you all tonight. Before we get started in earnest, I would like to share the agenda that we have for tonight. There is space for Q&A at the end, but I'll be keeping an eye on the chat if you have any questions for us that you feel can't wait. So we'll go through a brief history of AmeriCorps, how you might know AmeriCorps, an overview of Public Allies specifically, how you might know us as Public Allies Indianapolis, and overviews of how to apply and be involved with the program as an ally and as a partner organization. Yes, in the chat, Sharon and mentioned that Danae and Sharon are both PA alum as well. We know the quality of the programming that we do and that we put on, and that's why we have so many program alumni on staff. Just saying, we're very pleased with what we do here. So, as I was mentioning, introductions. Terry beautifully introduced us, but I find that it's always helpful to introduce myself to you as somebody who is talking to you. So I'm Lauren Tolley. I'm the program director for the Public Allies Indianapolis program, and I serve 2 terms of service in classes 9 and 10. Caitlin?
I'm Caitlin Blackie. I'm the program manager for Public Allies. And as Lauren and Terry mentioned, I am class 9 alumni of Public Allies, and I served at the Mary Riggs Neighborhood Resource Center.
Yes, and unfortunately, one of our other teammates, Olga Molgoyon, was not able to join us tonight, but she is INRC's operations manager, and she doubles as our resource coordinator for the Public Allies Indianapolis program. And fun fact about Olga, we consider her honorary class 9 because she served in classes 4 and 5, and when you add those together, you get 9. All right. So before we delve deeply into Public Allies as a program and what it does for Indianapolis, I wanted to give you guys a brief overview of AmeriCorps. Public Allies is an AmeriCorps program, and AmeriCorps is a federal agency. Um, if you've not heard of AmeriCorps before, I like to describe it as the domestic version of Peace Corps, where you do a term of service in a community, but you don't have to leave your community. You can do your service here in your community in Indianapolis with your family and friends, whoever you already know and kind of want to serve. You don't have to go abroad to do that. Technically, though, AmeriCorps is the federal agency for national service and volunteerism. What that means is that the federal government has decided to prioritize, out of many priorities, service. And AmeriCorps is the agency that they use to do that. AmeriCorps provides opportunities for all Americans of all backgrounds to serve their country and address our nation's most pressing challenges. AmeriCorps' mission specifically is to improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement through service and volunteering. Believe it or not, the first AmeriCorps program, VISTA, started in 1964. If you've heard of VISTA, you've heard of AmeriCorps. And you'll see over on the end, you're like, what do you mean you're celebrating 30 years of AmeriCorps? How can VISTA have started in 1964? Some AmeriCorps programs about volunteerism and service to the community predate the official cert of AmeriCorps. If you can believe it, it's true. So yes, in 1964, VISTA started. And fun fact, if you don't know what VISTA stands for, it stands for Volunteers in Service to America. I like to bring up VISTA because it's one of the most populous and popular programs of AmeriCorps. So if you've heard of it, or if you've heard of AmeriCorps, you might have been like, yeah, I've heard of AmeriCorps VISTA, or somebody I know has done VISTA. They're kind of our sister organization within the AmeriCorps umbrella. I will say later after that, Senior Corps started, as well as the Senior Volunteer Program and Foster Grandparents and Senior Companions programs. Those all started in 1973 under the Domestic Volunteer Service Act. That is still more than 30 years away, if you can believe it. Because in 1992, this is the important part. I want you guys to keep that in your mind. In 1992, PA started. Yes, Public Allies predates AmeriCorps, but we are happy to be a part of the program. So you can see over here, this is one of the not screenshots, my goodness, camera photographs from 1964 when they first started VISTA. And you can see a little bit of our logo here because we're telling you about the Public Allies program. I think we're pretty important, so we fit on the timeline. But here, this picture in the middle is 1994. Yes, we had color cameras back in 1994, but they chose to make this picture in black and white. This is the first class of AmeriCorps. The first class of AmeriCorps officially had 20,000 people from across the country who joined in AmeriCorps and took the pledge to get things done for America. That Get Things Done for America is the pledge that all AmeriCorps members take when they start their term of service. So it's kind of our unofficial motto. That's really what AmeriCorps does. This image over here is just to emphasize how AmeriCorps, we haven't just done things in 1994, we expanded out after 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina. We launched FEMA Corps in 2012, and in 2016, we hit over 1 million AmeriCorps members. So if you know somebody, you might know an AmeriCorps alum or an AmeriCorps service member. It's pretty broadly based, but I still consider it to be one of our most secret, well-kept secret agencies, because everybody thinks when they want to serve their country, they have to think, oh, I need to go into the National Guard or I need to go into the Army, where there's a domestic service option here that you can stay in your community and do AmeriCorps. And then, of course, this year, because it's 2024, and we technically started in 1994, we're celebrating 30 beautiful years of AmeriCorps. And fun fact, we are also celebrating 30 years of the Indianapolis Neighborhood Resource Center. So we are 30, flirty, and thriving, both of us together. Now that I've had you all endure the service of AmeriCorps, I am going to, or sorry, the history of AmeriCorps, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Caitlin, to talk about Public Allies Indianapolis specifically.
Thank you, Lauren. So specifically, Public Allies Indianapolis, we are an asset-based or asset-focused program, as well as INRC is. If you've attended some of these info sessions before, you've probably heard asset-based community development is a big core of INRC. But as an asset-focused program, we recognize that the people in our community are also an asset. And so we, as Public Allies Indianapolis, equip them with the skills, knowledge, and connections they need to succeed in a leadership role. As well, Lauren mentioned, we are currently completing our 15th cohort as Public Allies Indianapolis. We are wrapping up these last couple weeks with our 15th class. Go to the next slide, please. So how you might know us, these pictures encompass a couple of our service days. When we recruit for our allies, we really look for service-minded people. And so part of their term of service is included in service days throughout the community. So one of our team service projects started the Far East Side Festival, which now even after they have left the program, it is a continuous project. We've done service days at Kennedy King Park. And then the picture on the far right is our last service day we did at the very end of May, where we came together to clean up some storm drains in Windsor Park. Here's some more ways you may know us. You may see us around in the community. Like we said, service days. We do an annual service day on MLK Day. So this picture up here is from this past MLK Day. We partnered with the MLK Center for our service day. And then we also may be seen in the community at learning events and training events, as well as facilitating and tabling at community events. So you may have seen us around.
I want to draw your attention to our logo. It's on the upper left-hand corner of the screen. So just in case you see that hand somewhere and you think, who are these people? Public Allies.
So who are allies? Allies are a diverse grouping of, we say young professionals, but we have no age cap. So really just anyone looking to serve their community and develop their existing leadership skills. So just honing in on the skills already possessed. And then also just people who are passionate about their community and making a difference. Our requirements for those who want to apply to be allies are that they must be 18 or older, have a high school diploma or the equivalent, and are eligible to work in the United States. So I've told you about what kind of an ally looks like and how who may qualify for it. We want to look over what our program year encompasses. So we are a 10-month long program. We offer full-time slots as well as part-time slots, and we run from September through June. So our program year, this is a very broad explanation of it, but we begin with cohort building. So we do 5 days of a core retreat when we start off. And so we really focus our program on our cohort model. So bringing together all of our allies so that they can build relationships and have those people to lean on throughout the term. So that's where we start. From core retreat, our allies then go off to their placements. So those are nonprofits, government agencies, or schools throughout the city where our allies will serve in capacity building roles 4 days a week. An extra portion of our year are our team service projects. So we break our cohort into smaller groups, and where they go out into the community for service days, as well as preparing their own service day. So like you saw in the pictures previous, some of those service days were coordinated by our TSPs. We like to do retreats throughout the year, a mid-year retreat and then one at the end of the year to bring our cohort together and just rejuvenate and reflect on where they have gone so far and what they would like to do next. And as we near the end of our program year, we focus on pathways. So pathways are 3 options our allies choose. So either a career pathway, education, or a second term of service, either with Public Allies or another AmeriCorps program. And our allies pick this as what they're wanting to do after their term of service ends. And so we help them reach that goal. So either getting them connected with job opportunities if they're looking to do a career next, helping to make sure that they get everything they need if they'd like to do education, looking into opportunities, as well as exploring different terms of service, either a second term with us or different AmeriCorps programs if they're interested in doing a second term. And then we round out the year with lots of fun activities, which we are currently in the midst of for our current class. So we do an end of year retreat. Our allies do presentations on all that they have learned, and then we end with the graduation, which is next week. So throughout the term, we support our allies through trainings, coachings, and resource support. Our trainings are on Fridays. We bring our cohort together for personal professional development trainings. Our coaching sessions are monthly, and they are with either myself as the program manager or another staff member, just helping the ally reach their goals that they have set for themselves at the beginning of the year and making sure they're reaching them, holding them accountable, and being that extra helping hand as they move throughout the year. And then we also have resource support. As we mentioned at the beginning, we have a third person on our team, Olga, who is full-time resource coordination for the Public Allies program. So she helps our allies find resources that may not fall directly into the program, but other ways that we can support them throughout their term. So then I'm going to touch over how to apply. Would you like to? Yeah, thank you. So our application is online, and it can be found at the link in the slideshow, or you can also just go to publicallies.org. It provides all the information on all the sites throughout the city, information about Indianapolis site specifically, as well as a link directly to our application. And if you have any questions, you can always email me, and my information will be at the end.
Thank you. So you've heard about how to be an ally, but if you're here potentially representing a neighborhood organization or a nonprofit organization, you might be wondering what an ally could do for you. So long story short, and we're going to make it long again pretty soon, an ally can help build your organization's capacity. For example, they can help you pilot a new program, they can help you assess a current program and analyze how to improve it or how to expand your capacity for that program, and they can help you launch outreach strategies that will help you better connect to your neighbors and community, or better let them know what resources you have as an organization. And I like numbers, so I add a little number over here that 92% of our partner organizations who've partnered with us in the past have had an organizational capacity increase. And all that says is that it works. Having an ally helps your organization increase its capacity. And I have a little example story I'd like to share with you. So last year, One of our allies served on a homeowner repair program. They were placed with a neighborhood community development corporation, and they worked on a homeowner repair program. The ally was able to help build out the program so that the homeowners in the historically disadvantaged neighborhood that they were serving in could obtain community-based loans to conduct repairs on their homes. This is a story that we hear a lot in Indianapolis, where either historically Black or otherwise disadvantaged neighborhoods have homeowners who are longtime homeowners, but they struggle to maintain their housing because they live off of a fixed income, or they have other barriers that prevent them from maintaining and repairing the home that they live in and love. So our ally worked in one of those neighborhoods, and they helped the organization to improve their home ownership repair program. I will admit this program existed before the ally took on their role at the partner organization, but the ally was able to expand the capacity for the organization to provide community aid through helping the organization make new community connections, and they crafted suggestions on how to better improve the program delivery. And I will also note right here that 100% of our organizations saw an improvement in the level or quality of the services provided by their organization. I see in the chat there is a question. Do you have any partner organizations that work with animals? Yes. I will say that every year our partner organizations are different, because every year we want to build capacity, and we hope that we are creating sustainable change within that organization. But as an example, this year we've partnered with an organization called Pause and Think. And they work with animals. They have therapy animals, and they take them to places like libraries or hospitals, where they are able to therapeutically interact with the people or patients in that area, and really improve that human-dog bond and use that to make life a little better. That is a great question, though. Thank you for asking. So I've told you about how cool our allies are. You're definitely wanting to know, if you are an organization, how do I apply? How do I host an organization? And I want to let you know that as an organization, you're in the right place at the right time. My contact information is at the end of this presentation. My name is, again, Lauren Tolley, and I'm happy to share it. What I want to tell you is that we are right here in that recruitment position, where we are looking for partner organizations as well as allies, and we to see who's interested in being a partner. As a partner organization, your application process will involve an individual conversation with me, the program director. Just like we screen the allies for suitability with the program, we talk to them, we interview them, we have different scenarios that we kind of test them through. We will talk through you, see what you are looking for a partnership in the program, what you might be looking for out of an ally. And we will figure out if this partnership is a good fit for you. After that, you decide this is a partnership you want to pursue, we will go through your position design for your ally, what that'll look like. And then you'll come here, and this next event is called Matching Fair. Matching Fair is an event we have at the end of summer. This year, it will be July 29th, where you as a partner organization with your position description will meet prospective future allies. So I tell you this now because as a part of the application process, you need to be aware of what your summer might look like. So you'll have matching fair prep, and then you'll have individual interviews with your ally. We screen the allies for suitability for the program, but you as a partner organization might have questions about, oh, does this ally have this specific qualification, this certification that we really have to have, or this skill set that we would find really beneficial to our program? You will have the opportunity as an organization to have an individual interview with your finalist applicants to see if they're the fit that you need for your organization. So if you are interested, please do not hesitate to email me. I'm happy to have a conversation if you are just potentially thinking about exploring the opportunity for an ally, or if you're curious about what it might take. So that's kind of how you get started in the application. But you might have heard us say something called partner organization or partner org. Um, Partner org means partnership. So we work with the allies, we train them, we develop them, we work with you to place them. But as a partner organization, we need stuff from you as well. I forgot to say this when I first started, but as a partner organization, we are looking for organizations that have their 501c3, are a school, or are a government agency. So those three qualifications. If you are representing perhaps a neighborhood association or something like that, I would like to let you know, and I'm going to go back just a little bit. We do service days. We can partner with neighbors and neighborhoods to do service days. So if you're thinking, well, I'm not sure that I represent an organization that can host an ally, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you think that perhaps you could host us for a service day. So that is also an option that I want you all to be aware of, even if you decide, I don't think we can host an ally this year, or I don't think an ally is quite what we're looking for this year. If you think maybe a service day would be a nice opportunity for you, the contact information is exactly the same. So as I was saying, as a partner organization, as a 501c3 school or government agency, we have requests out of you. First is that you are providing direct supervision, coaching, and training with your ally, as well as anything else that they might need to be successful in your organization. And that's really going to be anything any other person that is an employee at your organization might get. So that will be the onboarding, the training, the laptop with your secret work network that's connected to it already. All of that we're asking you to require or provide. We are also asking you to be willing and able to provide between 900 and 1,300 hours of service and learning for your ally. 900 is if you choose a part-time ally, and 1,300 is if you choose a full-time hour. These numbers add up to about 25 hours a week for the 900 hours and 32 hours a week for the 1,300 hours. So that's kind of what a work week would look like for your ally. And as Caitlin mentioned earlier, we have the allies on Fridays to do their training and leadership development. Okay. Then I will bring my little pointer to our number that 94% of our partner organizations were satisfied with their allies' performance. And what that means, that's a winning grade, that's an A. Our partner organizations are satisfied with the ally and the service that they do with their partner organization. And that's not because we're especially magical at producing allies, though I like to think we are. It's because we have a system in place where we work with you and we work with the ally to produce success. The allies' success is your success and is our success. When allies join the program, they're joining to do the apprenticeship portion. They're joining to learn, to grow, and to develop. And because we're all pushing towards the same goal, we get success. All right. You're thinking, this is great, but I need a little more specifics. What do you really need? Let's start with paperwork. As a partner organization, you are going to be required to do a little bit of paperwork on your end during the program. I put paperwork in meeting cadence because it is an overview of just kind of what we expect from you on your regular day-to-day work with a public ally. So in the weekly category, we expect you to do weekly one-on-one meetings with your ally. That can be, we suggest that you set aside an hour to meet with your ally at least once a week, but they don't have to necessarily take that much time. And then as a reminder, weekly, your ally will attend trainings with us on Fridays. Bi-weekly, time log review and approval. We have an online portal called Leadership Journal, and Leadership Journal is where your ally will enter their time logs and monthly service reflections, which you'll see down here, to go over what it is that they are doing as far as time that they're spending with your organization and within the program. As I mentioned earlier, because we're an AmeriCorps program, we are technically a federal program, and the federal government likes to know who's doing what with their money. So that is why we are required by the government to do these time logs. And then you as a supervisor will also do a time log, but your time logs will be much easier. They will be time you spend on the Public Allies program and time you do not spend on the Public Allies program. That's all the information we need to know. So that's all the information we'll be collecting. And please don't consider that as we're kind of looking over your shoulder. We've just been told that as a program, it's our responsibility and best practice to track all the time that people donate to the program. Monthly, you'll have one-on-ones with me, the program director, and you'll review and approve your Allies monthly service reflection. And then quarterly, you'll have an in-person on-site check-in with your program manager. Those will happen around the beginning of the program year in September, October, in February, in the middle of the program year, and then again at the end of the year. And then quarterly, as Caitlin mentioned, your ally will be attending a retreat with us. That's core retreat, mid-year retreat, and end-of-year retreat. Quarterly, during the program, because it's 10 months, it tends to happen about 3 times instead of 4. So just keep that in mind as well. All right, now here's the big question. What is the fiscal responsibility for a partner organization? We are tiered based off your total operating budget. So you can look over here to see what it is that you as an organization operate out of. And then over here, you can find out your fee structure. I believe Terry will be sending these slides out afterwards, so I won't read you the numbers, but you can kind of estimate, if you know roughly your operating budget, where you'll fall in the slide. And we do this to be as accessible as possible to prospective partner organizations. Please let me know. My email will again be at the end of the slideshow if you have any questions. If you feel that your fee assignment based on your budget is not accessible, I cannot guarantee that we will be able to make any changes this year, but I would like to know, because we work every year to make ourselves as accessible as possible, but also because every now and then we have the capacity to offer discounted allies. And again, not a guarantee, not necessarily going to happen, but if you don't tell me that you would like a discounted ally, I won't know, because I'm not psychic. That was not a part of the job description, and I never developed my psychic powers. All right. Now that we've bored you with the money stuff, here are the questions that this is the time we have for questions, and I already see one in the chat. Is that the full amount for the duration of the 10 months? Yes. The fee structure is for the full 10 months of the program. And I will say you do not have to pay it all at once. It will be broken into 3 payments. And we send our invoices out in September. I want to say February and April. And then they are due 30 days afterwards. Great question. Thank you. I would like to invite you, if you would like to hop into the chat, please feel free. Or if you'd like to come off mute and ask your question, I invite you to do that as well. I'm not hearing any questions, so I would like to invite the PA staff and PA alum, if you guys have anything you'd like to add, either about the program or about the experience that we did not touch on today, please feel free to do so.
Well, Lauren, could you maybe speak on some of the typical questions that you get from people that are interested in the program from the public ally point of view? Are there any typical questions that you get?
Yeah, so I think the typical question we have is around how this can be both a leadership development program and a paid experience. And the answer is that it is an apprenticeship that is partially funded by the federal government. So we're allowed to do magical things like that, where you are able to learn and grow and develop while being paid at the same time. And as Caitlin touched on, we also offer benefits such as access to a child care allowance for full-time members, as well as healthcare insurance that does not come out of your living stipend. I will say another question that we typically get is, what partner orgs do you have? And unfortunately, that's not a question that is easy to ask, because as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we change partner organizations each and every year, because each and every year we try to work with partner organizations to implement a sustainable change in their organization that will last after their ally. And this is a good thing, some of our partner organizations hire their allies, so they don't need another capacity builder, an emerging leader the following year. So we're happy for them and our allies, but we're sad for us because that means they won't be our partner in the future.
I'll hop in and give a little bit more information around what the pay structure looks like, as well as some of the benefits offered to being an ally. So for full-time, the stipend is around 28,000, or I'm so sorry, 26,000, and that is spread out over the 10 months. If the ally completes the term successfully, then they are eligible for the Eli Siegel Education Award, which is a little over 7,000. And like Lauren mentioned, they're eligible for health insurance and childcare assistance, as well as SNAP benefits. And then for part-time, the stipend is 20,000 over the 10 months, and the education award is a little over 5,000.
Are we missing any other frequently asked questions?
And where can they spend the educational awards?
Great question. So you can spend your educational award at any accredited secondary educational institution. You can spend it on supplies if you already have tuition covered for that organization. You can spend your education award on qualified federal student loans. So if you've already gone to school and you're like, that's all the school I'm going to do, you can use your education to pay back some of your student loans. So that's what I did, and I quite enjoyed that. I see a question in the chat. Do you have any partner organizations that work with healthcare? Not this year, but in the past, we've had partner organizations that work in healthcare. Well, depending on how you see an organization like the Damien Center, for instance, they kind of work in healthcare, they kind of work in community care. Organizations that work in healthcare kind of touch both of those. We've partnered in the past with an organization called Bellflower. We've partnered with the Marion County Health Department in the past. We've partnered with, who else? I apologize, it's been a while. So we have partnered with healthcare organizations in the past, but I'm not sure if we have any upcoming. Thank you. Terry, you mentioned, do we have any frequently asked questions for the partner organizations? Was that correct?
For a candidate for PA or for partner orgs, either one?
I would say a lot of the questions we get from partner organizations are about the allies. They're curious as to how we recruit, who we recruit. and why they're joining the program. I think that's why we added who the allies are to our presentation, because it was such a common question we got in the past. I will say that we recruit at information sessions like this one, as well as traditional tabling events and opportunities. Our allies have a broad range of experiences, and whether that ranges from life experience to professional experience, but they are all passionate about community service, and they've all shown a willingness to learn and grow during our screening process. So that's what I can say unites them, other than the fact that they're all 18 plus and eligible to be in the program otherwise. They are all unique and interesting individuals, but they're all passionate about community service and making a difference. We have individuals who are fresh out of high school, who only have their high school diploma or equivalent, all the way to applicants who've had their master's degree. So like I said, they range from life experiences to professional experiences. And we're happy to have all of those people, by the way, in case anybody was like, oh no, I don't know if I can compete with that. No, everyone brings value and insight to the program. And if they have a willingness to share their insights and their experiences with everybody else, and they're willing to learn from everybody else, we are happy to see them apply to the program. Oh, thank you, Danae. Danae has put her email in the chat. She is an alum of the program, and she did do the program last year. Oh, we have another question in the chat. How do the Friday meetings typically go? So our Fridays are dedicated to trainings in TSP. We start the mornings usually around 10. So we suggest that you get there 10 minutes early or so, just so you can get in your seat, get coffee, get ready for the day. We do provide coffee on Fridays. That is something we do. And depending on the training, we will either bring in a facilitator who is an expert in their field, or we will facilitate the training ourselves. And trainings will go from 9 to about, well, not 9, I'm sorry, 10 to about 12:30 or 1 p.m. After that, you guys will break for lunch, and then technically there's no formal schedule for the afternoon. We encourage you to use that time to work with your TSPs or your team service projects, because you guys will be working on planning your service activities or planning your service day at the end of the year. And we want to set aside that dedicated time for you to have that. The mornings are typical trainings. They vary from day to day. We try not to have trainings that are too lecture heavy. So they are interactive, they are a little more interesting, and they are informative. We start the year off as a curriculum really learning about the basics of community service. As Caitlin mentioned, ABCD, or asset-based community development, is really important for INRC as a whole and for the Public Allies program specifically. So we'll go over that, as well as appreciative inquiry, and we'll move into topics like volunteer management, volunteer recruitment, things that we think are very helpful to you as somebody who's working in the nonprofit sphere and who's really going through an apprenticeship on how to be a leader in the nonprofit area. We'll advance into topics like grant writing and fundraising, and then we really go into your pathways and learning about you, what you're looking for, and how you can succeed at the end of the year. So that's kind of a broad overview of the Fridays. And then, like I said, they're pretty standard morning meetings from 10 to about 12:30 to 1. Caitlin, am I missing anything?
No, I think that's it. Like Lauren said, we meet every Friday at 10 a.m. Our trainings cover a wide variety of topics, both personal and professional. So grant writing, volunteer management, our TSPs host their own service days. We go over LinkedIn and cover letter writing, We do understanding racism, being an ally to LGBTQ plus communities. So we provide a wide variety. So for trainings that'll be useful during your term at the organization you are serving in, but then also just useful tools in your tool belt for what you do next, either in a career in a nonprofit, or there are a lot of transferable skills for whatever you decide to do after the program.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else from the audience?
I have one more question. So I saw after your the pay budget screen, there was I think there was like maybe half and part-time, full-time, and then there was like second term. What was that about?
So we have allies who do a second term of service after they've done a year with us, like me or Olga. We did 2 years of service. And because they have a little more experience in nonprofits, we think that it's fair to assess a little more of a partnership fee for the partner organizations who are asking for those allies. If you want to do a second year, you have to do a first year first. But if you do good at your first year, you are more than welcome to do a second year as well. Did that answer your question? Excellent. Thank you. Oh, that was a great catch. So this is not in the Q&A section, but I do notice some people are leaving, so I want to thank you for joining us at the information session tonight. We know that you had other options on how to spend your evening, and we're honored that you spent it learning about us and about the Public Allies Indianapolis program. I do have a QR code up here for the neighborhood services team. They would like to know about how this presentation went. So please feel free to scan the QR code on your phone. Terry will send out the traditional link if you are watching this on your phone and thus can't scan it. But we would really like to hear how this went, how you experienced the presentation, and how you felt about the information that was shared today. If you have questions, you can reach out to myself, Lauren, or Caitlin. Both of our emails are on the bottom of the screen. Mine is ltolly@inrc.org. It does not have to be in caps. That's just how I type it, because there are L's in my name and some people type them as I's if I leave them lowercase. Same for Caitlin. That is an L and that is the I. So it is heyblackie@inrc.org. Anything else before we end the evening? Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Yes, Lauren and Caitlin, we definitely appreciate all of the information that you shared on the Public Allies program. I think it's a great program, very similar to a program that exists for seniors, people that are 55 and older. So just listening to the similarities was really encouraging and kind of uplifting to know that young people are getting the same exposure as some of the seasoned workers. So we definitely appreciate all the information that you shared with us this evening. I also want to note that this presentation will be posted on our YouTube channel. So if you would like to share it with a friend or relative that you think would be a good fit for the Public Allies program, please know that they can go on the YouTube website and view the entire presentation and still be able to reach out to Lauren and Caitlin for any additional questions that they might have. So again, thank you so much for joining us, joining INRC for the information session. And we look forward to hosting you and seeing you next month for our next info session. And if you would please stay tuned to our newsletter and our website to find out the topic for the next session and the date. So thank you again and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.